Good evening. You're joining the State of Business with me, Nishani Pigera. As usual, top stories first. Sri Lanka to increase production of pharmaceutical drugs. And a study by PIM reveals 80% of teachers are unaware of policies on special education needs. In tonight's main story, Minister of Health Dr. Rajatha Senaratne says by the end of 2017, 80% of pharmaceutical drugs that are imported to Sri Lanka will be produced within the country. The minister said that medical doctors should also promote generic names of drugs in order to create a level playing field. The minister said this speaking at an event in Colombo recently to launch a series of new products of State Pharmaceutical Corporation.
He wanted that all the drugs should be prescribed by the doctors on their generic name. Today all doctors write on their brand. 80% of the doctors practice prescribing the drugs on their generic name in US. That is a temple of liberal open economy. Still in health, they are not liberal. They prescribe using the generic name, not the brand name. Even in UK, it is 85% of the prescriptions are on generic name. They are the temples of open economy in the world. But when it comes to medicine, when it comes to health, they are not liberal. That is what we have to understand.
A study carried out by the Postgraduate Institute of Management reveals that 80% of teachers and school management are unqualified or untrained in special education needs. The study, titled Identification of Special Education Needs of Primary School Children in Sri Lanka, says there would be social and policy implications if the teachers and school management are not trained properly on this regard. The study has also found that most of the teachers are unaware of policies prevailing in Sri Lanka on special education needs. It also highlights the shortcomings in the education sector when it comes to access to education and inclusiveness of children with special needs.
Let me appreciate the bold step taken by 6 investigators who are the final year students of PIM, and they went ahead in terms of doing this remarkable study involving a large sample, which is 12,000, and it catered for the special education needy children, SEN community, which is sometimes neglected, sometimes not getting the required attention. We are creating a new avenues with regard to research. There had always been a criticism that research is done for the sake of doing research. Research is done for just to create new knowledge. We have gone beyond that.
State of Business will return with more news after this short break. To stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the State of Business. Stuart Dunlop, who is a regional director of ACCA, says nowadays the professional accountants need to improve their soft skills and technical competencies in order to improve service delivery. He said this during an exclusive interview with our television recently.
That calls into question two sides, I guess, of competence or capability, which are, on the one hand, I think if you're a professional accountant, you need a certain level of technical competence. However, what our research has also demonstrated is that more and more what will be needed are what we would call professional skills. And these are, some would say, softer skills, but these are the things, in my experience, you need to develop in your career. They're things like the ability to demonstrate innovation, initiative, analysis, creativity.
Stuart Dunlop also said the accountants should have the capacity to face any emerging challenge within their nations and globally if they are to be successful in their careers.
What we are seeing globally is an increase in nationalism. We see that reflected within the accounting profession globally. Business equally, and again one thinks of Brexit, business will have to overcome new changes to trade agreements, and one can expect the chief accountant, the accounting profession, to be in the vanguard of what this means for business, what changes impact financial reporting and financial management. And where businesses choose to locate, the world is flat, and being able and having the ability to look at the global landscape and what that means really for the company's balance sheet and P&L is critical.
There's more news on the other side of this short break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy says that Sri Lanka's new growth economic model should be largely on private investments driven with exports and foreign direct investments. He also emphasized that the reduction of this fiscal deficit was imperative.
This is something that hasn't got as much publicity or as much attention as it should have done. There's a paragraph towards the end of the budget speech where the minister commits the government to quarterly reporting to Parliament. There will be quarterly reporting to Parliament of expenditure and revenue, and if there is any revenue shortfall, then their expenditure will be adjusted. So there is an automatic adjuster to keep the budget on track to meet its targets. Where one is looking for stability and one is looking for the budget deficit to be contained, this is, I think, a very important part of the budget speech.
Dr. Kumaraswamy said, on the other hand, development expenditure has to be increased to enhance growth and the competitive capacity of the country through investments. He also noted that the new anti-dumping bill to be brought before Parliament will enable to develop the competitiveness of the economy.
On the trade facilitation side, the customs is working towards a single electronic window. I think the jargon is ACCA World Plus, so that you will be able, hopefully, to do all your work with customs online. The government is about to bring before Parliament an anti-dumping bill, and it is also putting in place a trade adjustment package, which will entail assisting companies to improve competitiveness as the economy will be opened up to some extent as the country signs these trade agreements to improve their competitiveness.
And with that, we sign off for tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening.